In 2013, specifically on October 16th, on the subreddit r Unresolved Mysteries, known for its talks about weird natural events and outdoor puzzles, a user named udesert_wanderer posted a thread that got lots of attention from fans of strange science and adventure stories. The post, which got thousands of comments and likes, was titled "The Sailing Stones of Death Valley, Rocks That Move on Their Own Leaving Trails, Solved or Still a Mystery." In it, the writer shares old stories and new photos of big rocks sliding across the flat desert ground in California, with the main focus on the sailing stones, these heavy boulders that leave long tracks behind them on the dry lake bed called Racetrack Playa, moving slowly without anyone pushing them, sometimes turning or going straight for hundreds of feet. The post caused a big talk because it showed how even after scientists thought they figured it out, some people still say there's more to it, and it spread fast to our science and our naturism edel, making many ask, is this just wind and ice at work, or proof of something weirder like hidden forces in the earth? This post started groups going on trips to see them, sharing videos, and even fun challenges to guess how they move, and it's still a cool topic today as one of the funnest nature puzzles on Reddit. Now, let's get into the story itself, with some extra parts to make it more fun and easy to picture, based on real reports from park rangers, scientist studies, and ideas people share about it. I'll tell it like I'm a hiker who went there many times to watch and learn, keeping the main idea the same but adding more talk about what it feels like to be there and simple ideas to think about the mystery more, making it longer so you can really feel like you're in the desert with me. The story is all about the sailing stones as a wonder full of little secrets, where the big empty desert isn't just hot sand and quiet, but a place that shows something special and surprising, like nature playing a slow game that we try to understand. I was just a regular guy who loved camping and exploring wild places back in 2010, when I first heard about the sailing stones from a friend who worked at Death Valley National Park in California. Death Valley is this huge, hot desert area with super low spots below sea level, crazy rock shapes, and places where it's so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat. The stones are on a flat, dry lake bed called Racetrack Playa, way out in the middle of nowhere. You have to drive bumpy dirt roads for hours to get there, past sand dunes and mountains that look like they're from another planet. The first time I went, in the summer of 2011, I hiked in with a backpack, water, and a camera, excited to see if the stories were true. When I got to the playa, it's this big, flat area of cracked mud, like a giant puzzle floor, and there they were, rocks as big as a microwave or even a small fridge, some weighing hundreds of pounds, sitting there with long trails behind them, like they had slid across the ground on their own. The trails were straight sometimes, or curved like a snake, going for 100 feet or more, and no footprints or marks from people or animals around them. It was so strange. How does a heavy rock move without help? I camped out that night under the stars, which are super bright out there with no city lights, and thought about how people first noticed this back in the early 1900s. Miners and cowboys riding through the desert saw the tracks and wondered if it was ghosts or tricks of the wind. No one could explain it because the rocks only move every few years, and no one had ever seen it happen live. I walked around the playa the next day, touching the stones. They're rough and heavy, made of dolomite or other desert rocks, and followed one trail that zigzagged like the rock was deciding where to go. The sun was hot, over 100 degrees, and the ground cracked under my boots, but it felt peaceful, like the desert was keeping a secret just for those who come to look. Over the next few years, I went back many times, sometimes with friends or park rangers who know the area well. In 2013, I was there when scientists from NASA and other places set up cameras and GPS on the rocks to watch them. They waited for months, and finally, in the winter, they caught it on video. Thin ice sheets form on the playa after rain and cold nights, and when the wind blows, it pushes the ice with the rocks stuck in it, sliding them slowly across the mud. It was exciting news. The mystery seemed solved. But when I visited again in 2015, I talked to locals in the nearby town of Beatty, and some said it's not the whole story. They told me old tales from Native Americans, like the Timbisha Shoshone people who lived there long ago, saying the rocks are spirits moving to protect the land or show paths to water. One ranger shared how even after the ice theory, some rocks move without ice, or in directions against the wind. Mac. And now we move on to the second strange story that truly gave me goosebumps. In 2017, specifically on May 3rd, on the subreddit r Unresolved Mysteries, renowned for its examinations of maritime enigmas and vanished crews, a user named UC_legend_seeker posted a thread that ignited somber discussions among fans of nautical anomalies and historical voids. The post, which accumulated thousands of comments and upvotes, was titled "The Mary Celeste, A ghost ship found adrift in 1872 with crew vanished, storm, mutiny, or something unseen. In it, the writer recounts the eerie discovery of the American brigantine floating intact in the Atlantic, with the main focus on the Mary Celeste, this vessel laden with alcohol barrels, sails partially set, lifeboat missing, but no sign of its 11 passengers, including the captain's family, leaving behind half-eaten meals and an undisturbed cabin as if they had stepped away moments before. The post stirred controversy because it dissected salvage logs and weather data suggesting no panic, yet an inexplicable abandonment, quickly spreading to our conspiracy and our maritime history, prompting many to ponder, was this a rational evacuation gone wrong, or evidence of an intangible force that empties ships in silence? This post became the basis for model recreations, dive expeditions, and speculative essays, and it's still evoked today as one of the most quietly unsettling maritime mysteries in Reddit's archival depths. Now, let's delve into the story itself, with some additions to make it deeper and more contemplative, based on court testimonies, logbooks, and the theories lingering about it. I'll narrate it as if I were a maritime archivist who sifted through faded documents and stood on similar decks under empty skies, preserving its core while adding theories and viewpoints to probe the enigmatic side more, making it longer to evoke the slow creep of isolation at sea. The story centers around the Mary Celeste as a vessel steeped in secrets, where the open ocean isn't just waves and horizon, but a threshold to something deeper and more hollow, like unspoken decisions or unseen presences that dissolve human traces without a whisper. I was a researcher in nautical history based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in 2015, when I first immersed myself in the Mary Celeste files during a quiet winter in the Maritime Museum archives. The saga began on November 7, 1872, when the ship departed New York Harbor under Captain Benjamin Briggs, a seasoned mariner, with his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and a crew of 7 hardy sailors. Bound for Genoa, Italy, with a cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, industrial spirit for fortifying wine, the vessel was sturdy, recently refitted, and the voyage routine. Briggs' last log entry on November 25 noted calm seas off the Azores, position fixed, nothing amiss. Then, silence. On December 5, the Canadian brig Dei Grazia spotted her adrift in the Atlantic, about 400 miles east of the Azores, sails ragged but set, yawl boat gone, no souls on deck. Captain David Morehouse, an acquaintance of Briggs, boarded with his men. The scene was pristine yet vacant, the galley stove warm with half-prepared meals, a sewing machine mid-stitch in the captain's cabin, the child's toys scattered as if play interrupted. The chronometer and sextant were missing, but the logbook lay open, undisturbed. No blood, no struggle, only a faint dampness below decks, 3.5 feet of water in the hold, not enough to sink her, and 9 barrels of alcohol breached, their contents evaporated or spilled. The crew's pipes and oilskins hung neatly, as if they'd return any moment. Morehouse salvaged her to Gibraltar, where a British court inquired for months, suspecting foul play but finding none, ruling abandonment, yet unable to say why. In my first visit to Gibraltar in 2017, I stood on the old dockyards under a leaden sky, imagining the Mary Celeste towed in, her decks echoing empty. The wind carried a salt chill, mirroring the unease in the testimonies. Morehouse's men whispered of a cursed quiet, no birds circling, as if the ocean had swallowed sound along with the crew. I pored over the logs. Briggs was devout, teetotal, his letters home mundane. Yet the abandonment defied logic. Why leave a seaworthy ship, taking the yawl into open waters with a child aboard? Over the years, I heard echoes from other maritime tales. One from a 1880s sailor in Liverpool described finding a derelict with meals set, crew vanished, patterns in the ghost ship lore. In 2019, during a conference in Boston, an oceanographer shared data on rogue waves near the Azores, but none matched the calm logs. In 2021, I sailed a similar route on a research vessel. The Atlantic's vastness presses in, horizons endless, making abandonment feel like a descent into void. In 2023, analyzing barrel samples, preserved in museums, experts noted the alcohol's volatility, perhaps fumes built up, sparking fear of explosion without fire. My closest brush with the chill